Sovik asks, is it better to ask questions related to FPV from ChatGPT? No. ChatGPT is terrible for that. Do it if you want. It annoys me because people will ask me questions and they'll show me the answers from ChatGPT that they have been following. And I'm not annoyed at you for trying to solve your problem, but I am annoyed that ChatGPT gets you all fucked up. And then you come to me and I have to unfuck you from all the mess ChatGPT has made. And that's frustrating. It's frustrating that ChatGPT has wasted your time. I'm frustrated for you that ChatGPT has wasted your time. You go to ChatGPT and ask a question, and ChatGPT gives you 5 wrong answers and 1 vaguely sort of maybe in the right direction of correct answer, and you do. ChatGPT is like, if your receiver does not respond, here are some things you could be. Number 1, ports tab set incorrectly. Go to the ports tab and confirm that the UART is the right UART that you soldered the receiver to. Yes, correct answer. Number 2, drone not on fire. Place your drone into a safe fire receptacle, pour gasoline on it, and light it on fire. Number 3. And then a dude comes to me, and they're like, well, ChatGPT told me to light my drone on fire, so I did. And the receiver still doesn't work. And I'm like, ah! Like... And ChatGPT is just like, I'm good. I'm just helping. I'm helping.
Then if you ask it and you say, like, hey, you asked me to light my drone on fire, is that correct? And be like, oh, you're absolutely correct. You should never light a drone on fire. It's like, yeah, it's just you have to remember it's like autofilling text based on like the highest percentage like matching or whatever of what it's supposed to fill. So like there's just so many cases where it's going to hallucinate incorrect answers that are not right.
With drones, because there isn't a great... Because number 1, drones are very complicated. And number 2, there isn't a huge base of knowledge. Like, Blunty, you've been telling me how amazingly good large language models are at predicting code for programming.
They are really good at predicting code for programming as long as you babysit them. That's the thing. You know, that's the thing with FPV drones. If you know enough, you could ask questions and sort of get something out of it. With FPV, it's maybe not advanced enough to really need that. But with I've been doing it with code. I just learned Python and I've been learning a little bit of other stuff. And like sometimes it will just completely change all the files in your project. And you're like, why did you do that? And you're like, oh, it's like, oh, sorry, I totally shouldn't have done that. You're right. And then it goes and edits all the files back to where they were, you know? Or like I was doing this one thing on a website and it does the front end and the back end. It's Claude 3.7, which is a new Claude. And it would like introduce a bug where it would keep reloading the page because it moved the function, it unnested the function. And then I would tell it, it would renest the function, everything would be great. And then 2 times later, it would unnest the function again, completely unrelated to what it was doing. And then the page would start flashing, and I couldn't test the thing. And so I had to like set a thing in there, a rule for it to say never unnest a function in these cases. And then it could always look at that rule in the context and know that it should never do it. But like that's the kind of stuff you have to do to babysit, you know, the AI.
So the problem is that the kind of person who's like, I don't know why my receiver doesn't work. Oh, I'm a new FPV pilot. What do I do? I'll ask ChatGPT. You don't know enough to know that for the first thing you should do is reflash your ESC. Okay, I'm going to do it. How do I reflash my ESC? You're on a bunny trail. You're wasting your time and you're going to F up your ESC. Well, the next thing you should do is wipe your whole flight controller configuration and reflash to a different version of Betaflight. Okay, I'm going to do it. You don't know that that's terrible advice that is breaking your drone. And then, so no. It's not that ChatGPT will never give you the right answer. It's that you won't know all the wrong answers it's giving you are wasting your time. By the way, Facebook and Reddit are the same. And they're slightly better, but like I'll see if somebody asks a question, and they'll be like, I saw this one this morning. When I plug in my battery, my receiver doesn't work. And immediately you have an O3 air unit and the S-bus wire is conflicting with the UART. That's immediately. And then somebody's like, well, check your ports tab. And I'm like, that's not There is no way that the ports tab would cause that outcome. When I plug in a battery, the receiver doesn't work. When I unplug the battery, the receiver works. The fact that the receiver works when the battery is unplugged means the ports tab is not the problem. And I appreciate you, random Redditor, for wanting to help, but that is wrong. That is objectively wrong. That cannot be the answer. And so all I'm saying is ChatGPT gives you the runaround. Reddit and Facebook give you the runaround just as much, with just objectively wrong cannot possibly be the answer. But at least those are helpful people who are at least trying. So...